Hey guys, welcome to Sippin' and Spillin' with Sid from 3 Mississippi. How you doing today? Hope you're having a good day. It's turning into a nice day out. Yesterday was supposed to be a nice day. Today was not supposed to be a nice day, but it's nicer out today, and it was not so nice yesterday, and it was super foggy this morning. But I think we're still supposed to get like thunderstorms this afternoon, and it's supposed to be like potentially really humid later. The weather, everything's blooming right now. And Mike's terrified that we're going to have some like 1 or 2 more severe frosts that's just going to wreck everything, plant-wise. So we'll see. But right now my back looks like a patchwork quilt of Lidoderm patches. So yesterday, I had a very productive day yesterday. Mike has been really slammed at work for the last few months. And, you know, one of his kind of jobs that he normally does is upload the video, do the description, you know, make the title, work on the thumbnail, that stuff, okay? But he's been so busy that he's kind of forgotten. I'll be like, I gave you the video 2 days ago, it's not uploaded, and he's like, oh, I didn't get a chance to do it. And so as a result, we've kind of gotten off schedule with our posting, which I don't like, because I like to keep us on schedule. So I said to him, I said, would it be better if I just sort of took that over? Now it's a little bit tricky for me to now take all of that over, because it kind of ties my computer up a little bit more when I'm trying to do multiple things at once. So I'm gonna have to kind of time it so that, like, while I'm sleeping, it's rendering, while I'm sleeping, it's uploading, and I'm gonna have to really, it's gonna have to really kind of be on a time schedule for my little laptop. I'm gonna have to make like a schedule so I can have everything done. But so one of the things I did yesterday was the video that was supposed to post on last Friday about Mike's onions and us getting fruit trees and rebuilding some of the garden rows. That was supposed to post this last Friday. Didn't get posted, so I created a thumbnail and I wrote the description, made the title, uploaded it, did all the things, set it to post, premiered it early for our members, which is a new feature on YouTube, which is kind of cool. And then I also set it to post on our Facebook page after it posted on YouTube. So I set all that up, which took a while because it ties my computer up, because it takes forever to upload to Facebook for some reason. And so I did that, and then I was also simultaneously editing the video that will now be Friday's video for this coming week. So I got quite a bit done on that, but I still have a little bit more to do finishing that up. But before I got to work on all of that, you guys remember I've been having those escapee chickens, those reckless girls that have just been throwing caution to the wind and not staying within the confines of the electric fencing and in the coop, in the safety of the coop and all of that. Well, I decided that I was just going to handle that yesterday. Mike and Frankie were going to go over to help with a buddy of ours' cows, which I guess he ended up not needing as much help as they originally thought. But anyway, he borrowed the tractor, and he came by and picked that up, and they were just, I guess, inoculating some of the cows against this parasite that was because of snail poop in the pond. And so they were roping off the pond so the cows couldn't get in anymore until they can deal with that. But anyway, they were gonna be gone doing that, and I said, look, I've got too much that I need to do here, and I'm already behind on a couple of things here. Like, I can't go with you to go do that. So, like, you know, because Mike was like, well, you can come and film it. And I said, well, yeah, but I can't, because I need to be here to work on these things, and you can film that while you're there. You know, so, but I guess they ended up not filming anything because I guess there wasn't really anything to film. So I ended up filming fixing the chicken coop. So there's been that gap where I told you at the top of the headers, those beefy headers that Mike made, there's actually like, it was a 15-inch gap that in the middle where the inside OSB board has a gap right above the door. So like the OSB board comes up like probably about this, I'd say about that much of a lip above, and then in the middle there's a gap. Well, the birds were coming up through that gap and hopping out into the yard, and then they were hopping back through the unfinished side of the storage section of the coop through the half door that's there that I had tried to close, but I didn't have a it had come down and I hadn't refixed it, because at that point I was like, well, it doesn't matter because they're gonna hop out up there. And until he keeps saying, oh, I'll fix it, you know, it's on his honey-do list, it just didn't get done, you know, he's been busy. So, and now it's planting season, so, you know, so anyway, so as he was leaving, he's like, I found, you know, 4 more eggs over here by the shop. And I'm like, I'm fixing to fix that right now. And he's like, looked at me funny, and I was like, I'm boarding this up. I'm done with the Easter egg hunts. And so I did. I got up there and I measured it and I cut my boards and I hammered it up there, and well, I drilled it up there. And then I went on the other side where they were hopping through the half window, and I measured it and cut some scrap wood to fit and board that up. So they cannot get out now unless they brave the electric fence and hop over it. So, which I suspect there may be 1 or 2 cheeky girls that attempt that. But we'll know in the next day or so. But so far so good. And we did find, Frankie yesterday comes in, she's like, you tried to kill one of your birds. And I was like, what are you talking about? Where I had, you guys may remember, I had gotten a bunch of pallets. I had mentioned it in another Sippin' and Spillin', and that's going to be in video coming out this week. But I had moved a bunch, I think, or maybe I already showed it, I don't remember now. But anyway, I had got a bunch of pallets. That's for another project I'm going to be working on. But I had piled them next to the shop in front of a storage bin, and I have 2 sets of nesting boxes, and the original plan was to put them in the coop, like one up above the other, but then we never installed the other one, or we haven't yet. But I thought that nesting box was flush up against this other storage cabinet. Well, it turns out there was a gap, and I didn't realize that. Apparently there was a bird back there. When I started stacking these pallets up against it, not like tight up against it, but they were leaned, I guess I sort of pinned the bird back there. I unloaded those on a Monday. Frankie found the bird on Saturday evening. She heard it, and it had rained in between there, so the bird had water, and one of the eggs was kind of broken, so we suspect it probably ate some of the egg that was there, and whatever was around it, bug-wise, grass-wise. But yeah, it came out, followed me right back into the coop, and went and ate and drank, because it was a little hungry and thirsty at that point. But I thought, oh my goodness, like, it never made it. And I had checked the nesting boxes to make sure, because at that point I still had girls that had gone rogue and were out and about. Nothing. Hadn't seen it, didn't hear it, not a peep. Unbelievable. I was shocked, completely shocked, I tell you. So it was just kind of crazy. But that poor little bird got stuck back there for all those days and never made a peep. Apparently Frankie said she thought she'd heard something back there the other day, but she was like walking around going, but I don't see anything, and then it would be quiet and she didn't hear it. Go figure. Go figure. But at least now they're all behind the electric fencing. All of the gaps for them to get out through that they've discovered so far that I know of have been closed. So hopefully they won't just be escaping anymore. Because, you know, we do have, foxes would be the biggest issue. We do have foxes that we have seen. My neighbor actually messaged me the other day, and she's like, hey, I saw one down the road. I just saw a fox, and she's got guineas and chickens and stuff too. And she was like, I just wanted to let you know, like, there was a fox tonight. I saw it. And I was like, okay, thanks for the heads up. And I'm like, I know they're out there, but I don't like them. Because they're really hard to catch. They're hard to deter. They're the worst. And I suspect that foxes are what got Rico and Freebird and a couple of my other chickens several months ago, when Kusi was still smaller and he was still being penned up at night. It was after Nash had passed away and he was still kind of small, and I was afraid to let him out at night yet with everybody. Which in hindsight, I probably could have already started letting him out at night and not locking him up, but I think I was being a little overprotective of him in light of what had happened to Nash. So I kind of tried to maybe keep him safe a little longer than I maybe needed to. And that was before he bush hogged that whole area behind the goat pen. And Rico slept on top of the thing on the goat pen. So somehow that fox lured him out and got him, and yeah. So, and then same thing with Freebird. I feel like it probably snuck up on her at some point and grabbed her, and then got a couple of my other chickens that, again, had gone rogue out of the coop. So, in theory, I have that fixed now. They can't get in there and they can't get out. Like, stuff can't get in and they can't get out. So, hopefully that's a good deterrent. And I've got those birds that doing well out on pasture. And I've got my new ones in the brooder at home. We did have a scheduled power outage last night, so I did use my battery backup thing to keep the heat plates on all night. Unfortunately, gotta love chicken sometimes. You know, it's a batch of 50 in there, and I have the 2 heat plates going. Well, a higher percentage of the birds randomly decided to go under the 1 heat plate and kind of crushed some of the other birds. So I ended up losing about 7 birds that like were on the bottom layer, and then the other heat plate hardly had any birds under it. And I was like, why would we do this, guys? So I ended up losing like 7 chicks, and they're only like, what, 2 days old? Yeah, so that was a bummer. And I had saved one of them because when I went out there and checked on them during the day, everybody was doing great except for this one bird that had somehow gotten kicked out from underneath the heat plate and was kind of like off by itself. And so I took it upstairs, I was warming it up, I was doing the blow dryer, got it doing better, took it back downstairs, put it under the heat plate, and then we had the mass crushing of, 2024. So I'm like, really, guys, there's 2 heat plates. We can divide. We don't all have to be under the same heat plate. They both get just as hot. They're both at the same levels. I don't understand why this one's more popular. There's food equidistant from both of them. There's water equidistant from both of them. There was no reason why that heat plate was the preferred heat plate. Like, there was nothing different. It was like the Pepsi, you remember the old, blind Pepsi Coke taste challenge? It was like this, I don't know. It was just like, I don't know, whatever reason. But anywho, so that was a bummer. Did lose a few birds. Hopefully that was the last of the birds of loss. I've got a good group left, and when you have a large batch like that, you usually lose a few birds in the first couple days. The first batch, I've got 45 out on pasture out of the 50 that I started with. And then this batch now I've lost 7. So hopefully I don't lose any more out of this batch, because then that starts to be, a problem. But, and of course the older they are when you lose them, the more you're losing, because that's more feed you've put into them, more time, more money, more energy. So you want to, if you're going to lose them, if they're going to die on you, want them to die early. Not that you want any of them to, but that's the theory. So anyway, guys, lots to get to today too. We do have, we've got some other projects that we've got to get to in the next week as well that are kind of weighing on me a little bit, because they're things that I genuinely do need Mike's help with, that I can't do by myself. So I'm really hoping that he's able to carve out some time so we can get them done. Because one of them being some cameras to really help me watch out in the animal areas, which I've been really wanting for a long time, and we finally got some, but I need them to actually be up and on in order for them to do me any good. So So I do need his help with that, because that is definitely his area of expertise and not mine. That's literally part of what he does for his day job, involves security systems. So it's a huge part of what it involves. So I'm like, you know, not only like I could do it without him, but that would be just silly. Like, he knows this stuff backwards and forwards. Like, of course I should have him help me. So, or do it and I'll film it. That's even better. Especially since now my back's kind of cranky. It's more so my hip than my back, but they're connected, so they're cranky. But I'm sure I'll be fine soon. That's how it goes. G.I. Joe. Anywho, guys, but I did a lot. I got a lot done. I had to move the chicken tractor away from the electric fence, because as I was pulling it down, it was getting closer and closer to the electric fence. So I did have to move the electric fence the other day a little bit, and then move the whole chicken tractor sideways by myself. And then I had to pull it back down. So I think I'm now finally on a trajectory where I'm not going to hit anything. And it got into a ditch a little bit. There was a gully that I had to get out of, which was fun this morning too. So good times. So there you have it. Anyway, guys, as always, I hope you're having a wonderful week. I appreciate you, and stay blessed, and safety's off.